Stephen Bradley here from Grizzly Functional Training, and today we're talking skinny fat. What is skinny fat? Skinny fat is when you're not necessarily overweight, you're just soft, is the easiest way to describe it. Picture those little coffee drinking aliens from Men in Black, you know, when they go into the lunchroom and there's those weird things sitting there drinking coffee, long sort of slim body with this weird protruding belly. Or the Grinch. The Grinch is another classic famous example of skinny fat. Before we get too far into the causes of skinny fat though, jump down into the description and have a go at my free quiz and find out what the best piece of exercise equipment is for you and your goals. While you're down there, get yourself your free copy of my ebook, Train Wherever the Fuck You Want. Find out how you can quit the gym forever, train on the go, train while you're traveling, anywhere you want. And please give me a like, give me a subscribe. Your support helps channels like this grow. And while you're down there, pop a little comment in and tell me what you want to see next. So what is it that's causing this very unflattering title of skinny fat? One thing causing it, lack of muscle mass. So when you don't have much muscle mass on you, but you're still carrying around a little bit of body fat, you just look soft and shapeless and skinny fat. You could walk around with say 20-30% body fat and still have a decent amount of muscle on you, and it's not going to look that bad because the muscle's still going to push through and everything's still going to look nice. But if there's no muscle underneath that, another one is not training for strength. So this carries on from the lack of muscle mass. So you're not training to improve your strength, you're just going along and you're just going through the motions, you're just lifting weights, you're just doing some bicep curls, some pull downs, you're sitting on the leg extension, you've got no direction, you're just moving. Other one, not eating enough protein. So when you're not getting enough protein in your diet, you've got nothing feeding your muscles, you've got nothing stimulating the growth. Having one protein shake a day after your workout is not enough. If you're getting up and you're having cornflakes for breakfast, a ham sandwich for lunch, pasta for dinner, one protein shake, it's not doing anything. You're wasting your money. You need to get more protein in throughout the day, but we'll touch more on that later, so make sure you stick around till the end. Another cause is you're not eating enough food. You're not eating enough calorie dense food. Yeah, you might be eating a big serve of chicken, rice and broccoli, but that's not necessarily doing enough for you. Again, I'll touch more on that soon. And the other big cause is too much cardio. More importantly, too much steady state or long endurance cardio. So I can speak on the subject with a little bit of authority because I was skinny fat. Just like there's a lot of classic examples of your guide to the friend zone, I am your guide out of the skinny fat zone. I've been there. So what was I doing wrong? What caused my skinny fatness? Honestly, it's a combination of everything we touched on just before. I was blessed and cursed with a pretty wicked cardio engine. All throughout my life, I've never really gotten too unfit. I've always managed to keep a pretty good base of cardio. I was always one of the fittest when we came back for pre-season footy training. I could go months without going for a run and be able to just turn up on the day and knock out a reasonable time on 10 kilometers. I've always been a good runner no matter what sort of shape I let myself get into. But that being said, with a lack of real knowledge, anytime I was trying to get myself in shape, I would just turn to running. I would turn to big, long 10 kilometer, 15 kilometer runs 5 or 6 times a week. As good as it is being naturally good at running, that cardio system of mine has been a big setback as well. The other big problem I faced was I had no idea about nutrition. I had no idea about protein, nothing. I was eating healthy. I was eating fruits and vegetables and nuts and whole foods, but it was all carbohydrates. There was no protein in my diet. And the third one I was doing was I was just uneducated with training. I was just following your standard bro split, which is a big problem with this. See, I would see what other guys were doing at the gym. I'd hear them talking, you know, Monday's chest day, Tuesday's leg day, blah, blah, blah. Every day was a different muscle group. As much as I was proud of myself at the time because I'd get home and I'd research and I'd look up, you know, the best chest exercises, the best tricep exercises, I was doing all my research, I was writing my little program. It was a bro split. I was training muscle groups once a week and I wasn't training with any real direction. There was no progressive overload in my training. Okay, so how did I fix it? First up was I switched my training to the 5x5 strong lifts. So I'd kind of given up on the whole weight training and putting on any size and kind of just assumed it was bad genetics. So I thought, fuck it, let's just try and get really strong instead. There's plenty of examples of small, skinny, strong people. Maybe that's what I'm destined to be. So I found this thing called the 5x5 strong lifts and that became my guide. I'm going to touch more on that soon, so make sure you hang out until the end where we're going to go over protein and we're going to go over some training methods. The other thing I did was I switched my focus to a lot of protein, and honestly I can't tell you what it was that made me switch, whether there was some light bulb moment, whether there was a discussion with somebody, but focused on getting protein into my diet and focused on calorie dense foods. So one of the things I did was instead of having all my slices of toast in the morning for breakfast, I would have eggs for breakfast every morning and I would make a big smoothie. So rather than just having some frozen berries, a banana and some protein powder, I was doing all of that, but I was also adding in peanut butter and oats were the two big things I was putting into my smoothie. So honestly, it made it taste a little bit like pancake mix, but my smoothies went from being about 400 calories from 1,000 anywhere up to about 1,500 calorie smoothies. So that was one big thing I did to make sure I was getting a lot of calories in. And the third thing that I did was I was consistent. I stuck with a training program. I was strict with myself with what I was eating. I was eating the same thing for breakfast every day, the same thing for lunch every day. Dinners was kind of whatever it was, but I was always making sure there was protein in dinner. I knew exactly what my training program was each day. I stuck with it and I stuck with it for months. All right, so now let's go over my main tips for beating skinny fat. Before we do that though, quickly jump down into the description and have a go at my free quiz and find out what the best piece of training equipment is for you. And leave a little comment. Let me know what you want to see more of. Let me know what challenge you want to see me attempt next. Here's one example here, the day I tried to do 1,000 push-ups in one day. Alright, so my main tips for beating skinny fat. Tip number 1, ease up on cardio for a little while. You don't need to be doing a big long run every day. You don't need to be doing a 30-40 minute ride on the bike every time you finish off at the gym. If you are skinny fat, cardio is not your issue. If you're anything like me and you can get that cardio fitness up reasonably quickly, don't worry about it. Put on some muscle mass. Once you're at the size and the weight that you want to be, the fitness is going to come back anyway. You still want to do your cardio, but just not the big long sessions. Focus on getting more food in, more calorie dense food, and of course more protein into your diet. Use an app like myfitnesspal to begin with. I know you hear mixed feedback on stuff like that, but for me it's a really good way to at least get an idea of what's in your food. They can be a little bit inaccurate because everybody can just upload whatever they want, but you get the general gist of what foods are. A common mistake I hear a lot of people saying is they hear stuff like peanut butter, that's my protein. Oats, that's my protein. Chickpeas, beans, that's my protein. Those foods have protein in them, but protein is not the main thing. Like oats, chickpeas, beans, all these things, yes, they have protein with them, but they're still predominantly a carbohydrate. They still have a lot of carbohydrates in them. Peanut butter is still mostly fats. Yeah, it has some protein content, but don't rely on that as just the protein on its own. So do a little bit of research into what's actually in each food. Use something like myfitnesspal so you can scan it in and it's going to tell you the stats. The other thing you want to do to beat skinny fat is focus on big compound movements. Start training for strength. Never mind your bicep curls for a little while. Start doing the big 5 or 6 main compound movements. Your deadlifts, your bench press, your overhead press, your squats, your bent rows, your pull-ups, your power cleans, things like that. Big compound movement. So a compound movement is an exercise that is using more than one joint. When you use more than one joint, you're using every muscle group around that. So you think bench press, you're using your chest, you're using your triceps, your grip strength comes into it, your shoulder comes into it. You're moving all those muscles and you're moving a lot more weight than you would if you just did a tricep extension and just targeted that muscle group. Don't worry, those are going to come later on, but to begin with, we need to build some strength, we need to build some mass, and then we can start targeting individual areas if that's your real goal. The other one we want to do is we want to swap out the bro splits. So as I touched on before, bro splits is those workouts where you've got chest day, you got shoulder day, you got leg day, you got arm day, you got back day. You're hitting everything once a week, it's not enough. So start thinking of some other kind of training methods, like you could do push, pull, legs, and then a full body workout day. You could do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. You're hitting everything twice. Or you can do what I touched on earlier, the 5x5 strong lift. I think this is a really good program for most beginners to look into when they first start in the weights room. So the 5x5 strong lifts, you've got 5 exercises that you do every week. You've got squats, deadlift, bench press, overhead press, and bent row. Look at that, 5 of the 7 exercises I gave you just before. So the way it works is you've got 2 workouts that you go through. You've got workout A and you've got workout B. So workout A is going to be squats, bench press, and bent over row. Workout B is going to be squats, overhead press, and deadlift. So you're doing squats every time you train them, which is important because squats is a massive movement for your legs. So the way the program works is you train Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you have a rest day in between, and then you rest on the weekend. An example of how the weeks are split up: week 1, you go workout A, workout B, workout A. And then week 2, you go workout B, workout A, workout B. So what you're gonna do is every exercise in our list of 5, except for the deadlift, you're going to add 5 pounds on every time you do that exercise. But deadlift, you're going to add 10 pounds on every session. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to do 5 sets of 5 on every exercise except deadlift. Deadlift, you're just going to do 1 set of 5. The reason for that is because deadlift uses a whole lot of muscle groups. Deadlift is your biggest, heaviest lift, so it's going to use a lot more calories and it's going to burn you out a whole lot quicker. You're also jumping up in higher amounts on that one, so you don't want to overdo it on your deadlift. It's going to take a lot longer to recover the more reps you do on that, especially as a beginner. So there's a pretty simple way for you to start out your new training routine. Go with your 5x5 strong lifts or any of the other splits I just gave you, and really focus on your food. Alright, I also said that we're going to touch a little bit more on protein. So protein intake is quite a tricky one as well, and there's a lot of variables in it. Most nutritionists recommend that you have 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight, which is a little bit confusing to begin with. But look, those numbers are basically what the human body just needs, just for maintenance. We're not taking into account putting any size on with that. Some experts say you also need to go as high as 2 grams per kilo of body weight. A common rule a lot of people go off though to make the maths nice and easy is 1 gram per kilo of body weight. The problem with going off your body weight is, let's say you're really overweight. Those numbers are going to blow out ridiculously. Your protein intake is going to be so high, it's going to be insane. You're not going to be able to make those numbers every day. So the easiest way to go is off 2.2 grams per kilo of lean body weight. So what I mean by that, let's say that you weigh 100 kilos and you know that you are 20% body fat. So you take away the body fat. So nice easy numbers to work with, 20% of 100, 20 kilos. So your lean body mass is 80 kilos. So now we go 80 times 2.2 and you get 176 grams of protein per day. So the numbers are quite easy. Take your lean mass, times it by 2.2. That's how much protein you should be trying to hit to begin with. So like I said earlier, to begin with, try out using an app like myfitnesspal. It's going to give you numbers to work off. It's going to give you a rough idea of what's in your food, enough to begin with anyway. If you're, say, bodybuilding or you're trying to really sculpt and you've got really specific targets, you're going to want a proper meal plan. But just for the average Joe who's beginning out, trying to put on some more weight, trying to lose a little bit of weight, trying to lean up a little bit, the numbers are going to be close enough for you to get a fair idea. But you've got to be honest with yourself and you've got to make sure you log everything. So there we go. There's my pretty easy breakdown of how to shed the disgusting, unwanted, skinny fat title. So before you go, jump down into the description and have a crack at my quiz and find out what the best piece of training equipment is for you. Once you've done that, get your free copy of my ebook, Train Wherever the Fuck You Want, and then give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a little comment telling me if I missed anything, telling me what you want to know next, telling me what my next challenge should be. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one.